You score the first 2 baskets early as Tony Stanley gets a couple of layups.
Right, we're running out and doing a fairly good job of defending. We're running out, we're aggressive. In fact, we were pretty aggressive, most of the night. And you just got to be a little bit smarter with the basketball. But early on, we get some things in our running game.
Then you go cold. They score 10 straight points in a game of streaks. Tim Wynn. Super quick, gets a layup inside. But the guy that really hurt you, I thought, in the first half was their center, Van Passen. He scored 10 points in the first half.
4 for 5 in the first half, and, he was stepping off the lane, hitting jump shots, and he hit his first basket in the second half, so he was doing a nice job for them.
Stephen Bammy Bola gave you a lift off the bench in the first half, came in and got a couple of quick hoops.
Well, he got a couple quick hoops, he got a block shot, he gave us a physical presence. We played he and Mark together for much of the first half, and that lineup worked pretty good for us.
They built a lead of about 6 points. After they built the 10-point lead, you cut it back to about 6. It stayed that working margin for 5 or 6 minutes, just kind of back and forth, teams trying to feel each other out a little bit.
Well, that's right. It was we kind of settled in and played pretty well after they had a big run on us, and then of course we make our big run at the end of the first half to put us up 6. So it was that kind of basketball game.
Big run with Tony Stanley hitting a 3-pointer to pull you within 2. Stephen Bammy Bola gets a layup inside. That cuts it to 2. But then down the stretch, Kobe Turner hits a 3-pointer. Mark Ashman got a couple of buckets on the inside. And then David Morris, right before the buzzer, hits a 3-pointer. You go into the locker room all of a sudden with a 6-point swing.
Well, we're in great shape going into the locker room. It's our ball coming out. We're just in a good situation. We're playing defense really well. We're doing a good job against our hot 3-point shooters. And now we're being aggressive inside. We got Mark going to the basket. We got Bammy going to the basket. And we're sprinkling in some 3-point shots.
In a hostile situation, this is a very tough place to play, very noisy crowd. The guys didn't panic after falling down by 10. And it had to feel pretty good going into the locker room up with a 6-point lead.
Well, we did feel good, but we told our guys going into the locker room that we had to play better. The one thing that we did a poor job of in the first half was we turned the ball over 7 or 8 times inexplicably and gave them a couple of opportunities for layups that they normally wouldn't have had.
Back out to the second half, and the Flyers picked up where they left off as Mark Ashman and Tony Stanley get a couple of baskets early on, and Kobe Turner a 3-pointer and a layup. All of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but in a few minutes, you're up by 15 points, and they were the ones that were having trouble handling the basketball.
We really had them back on their heels. We made them turn it over. We were shooting the ball nicely. We got the ball in the mark. Tony hit a 3. Kobe hit a trail 3-point jump shot. We had it all going.
After you hit 4 of your first 6 shots in the second half, though, the next 3 trips down the court, lazy passes, they step in front of them, take them back the other way for layups.
Well, yeah, that's right. The next 5 possessions, in fact, we turned it over and had a block shot in the next 5 possessions that translated into them scoring. Within 2 minutes, it was a tight ball game again.
And by the 10-minute mark, it was a 2-point ball game pretty much. It was all even again. They started heating up from outside the arc. Their 3-point shooters, who didn't do a whole lot in the first half, started finding the range a little bit.
Well, our defense just wasn't there for us, Mike. We hold them to 40% shooting in the first half. The second half, they shoot 65 and score 50 points, many of them 3-point shots. King heated it up, a guy who shot so very well against Temple we were very aware of. Capers hit a 3. We just didn't contest those shots the way we did in the first half.
51-51, though, and Kane Dalabo quickly hits a 3-pointer and then a turnaround jumper in the lane for 2. He gets 5 quick points, and you're back on top and in control a little bit.
Well, our guys stayed tough, even though they came back and tied it and went up. As you mentioned, we got back up 6, still have an opportunity to hurt them, and we start to turn the ball over once again and give up the 3-point shot.
Let's take you down the stretch now as King hits a 3-pointer for them to give them a 5-point lead, 65-60, with about 4.5 minutes left to play. Mark Ashman, though, hits the next 4 points, couple of layups inside. He started working hard inside.
Well, we did a good job of getting him the ball down the stretch, and every time they scored, he kind of answered to keep us close. And so we did a good job there until about the final 2 minutes when we turned the ball over a couple times, critical times, and that really, again, allowed them to go down and score and get fouled.
Here are those critical times we're seeing right now. Tim Wynn gets a layup. They follow that with another one, and that that kind of put the icing on the cake. It turns out to be a 77-67 St. Bonaventure win, and the road trip ends with 2 losses. A tough one here to take, though, a game that you should have had.
Well, it's a game we were in control of in the second half, and at that point, you got to defend to win, and our defense has been pretty good for us this year. It certainly wasn't good enough in the second half here tonight.
Now,